time to start working on these tracks. Got a bunch of pieces that I need to process to start with, and I figured I might as well get going on cutting all the little tabs out of the 2x2 angle. So I'm getting the saw set up tabs are cutting over there. I am just getting set up to drill all 230-ish tabs, 2 holes per tab, so 460 holes that I need to drill. So I'm going to set up something just to make it quick and repeatable, so I don't have to spend a lot of time monkeying around with this. There we go. That is the last of 236 of these tabs that I need to cut. And it's a good thing I'm done, because I have really nothing to clamp onto if I had to make another cut. So while all of these tabs were cutting in the bandsaw, I was already pre-drilling them, and I've drilled almost all of them. I've got the last 16 left to drill, and at least the first hole, and then I'll have to reset the table for the other hole. Okay, so I reset the table. I basically just moved it back a couple inches, and so now basically the same operation again. Well, that's it for now. I've drilled all of the tabs. 236 is what I came up with here. So next step will be to just put them on the grinder and clean up that edge that's going to be in contact with the tire, just so it doesn't tear up the tire too badly. And yeah. Well, here we are. It's been about 2 weeks since I shot the last parts of this video. That's where I cut all of these tabs and drilled out all the holes. I've had other projects that have been competing for my time, and just had to get some of that work out of the way before I could pick up back with this. But yeah, today I'm hoping to get a lot of progress done. Got an early start going, and basically, yeah, I'm going to try and get through as much of these, well, all of these tabs, get them kind of ground and cleaned up, get them bent so that they have the right profile, and then start working on some of the other little bits and pieces, the track components. We'll get them milled up in the milling machine. I got all 400 plus of these tabs ground down, so the edges are now fairly clean, a little bit of burrs and stuff, but I'm not too worried about that. So the next step now is to take that tab and to bend it just so it has a little bit of like a relief right here, just so that the top edge isn't really going to be contacting the tires. Give it a little bit of space for it to line up. Here is the setup I have. I put the bending jig in the vise, and then so I clamped this flat bar down on that side, and then I just have set up a stop. So basically a piece goes in and it'll rest against this here, and then that's my depth gauge. So I set it in there, full stop. I start to bend it, and when this tab comes in contact with the blue here, that's the angle I need. There we are. Finished the bending on all the tabs. That went really quick and nice and consistent. So our work with the tabs is all done. Alright, next is to work on the axle holders for the rear track tensioning system. The first step is to drill 4 holes, and then once we've got those holes drilled, I'm going to use an end mill and notch out these notches along the side of the bar, and then lastly we can cut the little axle holders into their side. Okay, so what I've done is I've already measured and punched the centers for the 4 holes that we're going to do. So we're going to make 2-inch wide axle holders. I still have the bit from when I was drilling all of the track tabs, so I'm just going to use that because it's set up really well still to just begin to pierce the holes, and then what we'll do is go to a larger bit, drill through, and then work our way up to the 1-inch hole, the final size that we need. Okay, so I've completed drilling the 1-inch holes. The next step is to set up the mill with a different tool holder. Get rid of the chuck, we'll put an end mill holder in. I'm going to reset this piece with some larger parallels just so that it's sitting above the top of the vise, and we're going to cut those channels in here that are going to interlock with the openings we cut into the tubing. So I've got the piece changed in the vise here, so it's now on end. And the plan is to use this drill, and we're going to drill into the center of each of the holes and then end up tapping that, and that will be a set screw to lock the round axle onto the slider here. Alright, so what I did is I set up the piece in the mill and drill vise. I'd pre-drilled with 5/16 drill bit, and then I put a 3/8 inch tap into the chuck. I took the drive belt off so I could kind of just turn the chuck by hand, and what I did is I used the mill and drill as a guide, basically, to make sure that the tap went into the hole nice and like true to the same geometry of the hole. So it was actually really easy to tap doing that. In a couple moments I ended up just putting some vice grips onto the chuck, but it actually worked really well. Alright, so we have finished. I just took a file to clean out the edges and then used the wire brush and the grinder there to clean everything up nicely. But as you can see, we have this shape here, which is going to interlock with the notches we're going to cut in the tubing. We're going to do that next. We have our 1-inch hole, so that is for the rear tire axle. That's going to go in there. To hold these on either side, we've drilled and tapped a 3/8 inch hole for a set screw, and yeah, basically everything's ready to go. Okay, so I have a piece of the 1 by 3 inch rectangular tubing that's going to make the axle frame clamped into the mill and drill vise. And so the plan here is we're going to take these axle holders that we fabricated previously, and now we're going to cut a slot in the tube that's going to allow these to slide back and forth, and that will guide that rear tire in its travel while it tensions the track. Machined out those slots in the rectangular tubing, and we have our axle holder, and there's the idea. These will be able just to slide nice and smoothly back and forth in there. No wiggle or anything. It's a perfect fit. Alright, so I'm making really good progress. I decided to put all 4 of the tubes together and drill them all simultaneously. That way they end up being pretty much identical. So I've drilled the 1-inch holes for 1, 2, 3. I've pre-drilled the 3/8 hole for the very front tire. I think that's where it needs to be, but before I confirm, I'm not going to do anything else. So what's remaining is these top holes here. I need to drill one more there. And those are just going to be, like I said, the rung of the ladder that holds the two of the track to parallel to each other. So I'll just run a piece of the steel through there and just weld around each side, and then that'll basically set the width of these bars, and that'll be that. So all I have left to do for now is just yeah, to drill these top 7/8 inch holes, and then I think we're gonna shut her down for tonight. Okay, well, here we are. This is what we have achieved for today. We have completed all of our little tabs. We have completed the rear sliding component for the track tensioner, and we've completed the tube fabrication that will hold the tires in the track. So what's next is to take all these tabs and rivet them into the tracks, get the tracks complete, and once we're at that stage, we can bring the machine in, determine that last front hole for the front tire, drill that, and once we can drill that, we know exactly where to cut these tubes, and that'll give us our overall length. Then it's just a matter of a little bit of rework under the snowcat to get these tubes to fit in there. So we have to remove all the old tracks, the undercarriage, etc. And so not a ton more work actually. The tabs in the track is going to be quite tedious, just because it's going to take a lot of time to just rivet each one of these in place, but I think once I get a jig set up, it'll be pretty easy going. And yeah, it's looking like we might be able to get this done, yeah, pretty soon. So that's all I have for this time around. Glad you're able to check this out. Sorry it took so long to get this video out, but hopefully I can get more coming out to you right away. Thanks, bye for now.